The Netherlands was originally formed in 1588 as the Dutch Republic as a result of the Dutch Revolt, where the populace of the Spanish Netherlands rose up against the Spanish monarchy. What? How did Spain even get there? They're all the way over there and the Netherlands is over here. How's that even possible? Well, I have an answer to that very question. Before looking at how Spain could bypass through France to get to these flat lands, we must look at the events that led up to this. Around the 12th century, the Netherlands, like other feudal societies, is shattered into an array of small states, which are a part of the Holy Roman Empire. Now we look south to Burgundy. Ugh, wrong color. Although they were one of many fiefdoms that swore loyalty to the French king, by the 1390s they started reining Netherlands into their influence. They used a special tactic where they would marry into the dynasties of local polities. When all the legitimate heirs of the previous dynasty died off, this would leave the successor of the county to be a part of the House of Burgundy. Thus, Burgundy would inherit all of their land. They would also gain influence over the ecclesiastical states of the region, such as Liège, by getting their family members and subjects elected as bishops. Copy and paste this tactic, and by the 1470s, Burgundy practically controlled all of the Netherlands. At the height of Burgundy's power, they controlled several territories in France and the Holy Roman Empire, and due to their sheer wealth and access to Flemish craftsmen, the Burgundian court was regarded as one of the most splendorous of their time, being a center for art, culture, and fashion. Burgundy had become so influential, in fact, that it acted more as its own country, despite still being technically a part of France. Things would change in 1474 with the outbreak of the Burgundian Wars between them, Lorraine, and Switzerland, in order to increase their influence further. This would backfire severely in 1477 with the death of Charles the Bold at the Battle of Nancy. To add further insult to injury, Charles had no male heirs, and his only child, Mary, was married to Maximilian von Habsburg. This guaranteed Habsburg rule of the Burgundian lands, extinguishing the state in its prime. The 5-year reign of Duchess Mary was spent trying to quell the instability caused by Charles's death as France swiftly occupied Burgundy's French lands. Eventually, in 1482, the Treaty of Arras was signed, which would abolish Burgundy for good. Its lands were carved up between Austria and France, and Mary's son, Philip I of House Habsburg, inherited the Netherlands, a country that rose to such prominence and power, forever banished to the dustbin of history. Its legacy was forgotten on the account of a single man's death. Now that explains how the Netherlands became Austrian, but how did it become Spanish? For this, we will have to go to the 1490s first. Philip I, from earlier, was married to Infanta Joan of Spain in 1496 as a part of a double marriage. This put Spain firmly under Habsburg rule for the next 200 years. Then, around 50 years later, we have Charles V. He was one of, if not the most powerful man in Europe for his time, owning all of Austria and Spain's possessions simultaneously. During his abdication from the throne in 1556, he gave Austria to his younger brother Ferdinand I, and gave Spain, the Italian lands, and the Netherlands to his son Philip II. Charles had been trying to suppress the Protestant Reformation, which had recently taken hold in the Netherlands, so he entrusted Philip II with the elimination of Protestantism within the area. That would mean, despite being part of the Holy Roman Empire, they were directly administered by Spain. During Philip II's reign, he did something no one expected, and brought the Spanish Inquisition to the Netherlands, heavily persecuting the Protestant northern lands. He also heavily taxed the Netherlands due to the region's wealth. These would be driving factors towards the 80 Years' War and later Dutch independence. Spain retained the southern lands of the Netherlands for another 150 years, until they returned to Austria after the War of the Spanish Succession in 1713. So to answer how Spain got the Netherlands, it was mostly luck. Burgundy consolidated most of the Netherlands, whose lands were then inherited by Austria, and Spain only had a chance at these lands because them and Austria were run by the same guy who just so happened to hate the Protestants. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and share this video with all of your friends. Also, click the notification bell so you don't miss a single video I upload. Don't be afraid to leave a comment in order to drive up engagement for the video. This is LaFinchy, all things history.